Disclaimer. This video is not a comprehensive look of every single thing that has occurred during these claims, as I am not aware of many of them, nor do I have the details regarding them beyond the fact that they apparently exist. I simply wanted to share what I have, though I do not fully understand all the evidence myself, as my knowledge of the more technical workings of AI generation is not the best, due to the fact that it lies outside my fields of study, and I do not care to spend my limited time learning that, so you will have to do the research yourself to better understand some of the evidence shown. If there is anything you believe I misunderstood, please feel free to correct me in the comments, or share your opinions on the information shown. I think having a discussion over our opinions of the data shared is going to be the best way to fully flesh out all sides of the argument. Hopefully this helps people understand more about both sides, or at least entertains you. If you would like to hear more about a certain topic, like my opinions on AI or art in general, pop a comment down below and I will consider making another one of these. They take a bit of time to do though, so no promises. So for this video, I'm going to be using the term artwork in the sense that they are two images, because having to differentiate terms between the two is going to fry my brain. Honestly, I'm just a little tired today, and trying to keep track of the terms in my head is just going to mess me up. So I apologize for any hackles that might raise, so onward we go. Due to the continuing controversy around the current claims of Mothdusky tracing AI art, and the fact that I accidentally left out a few details in my prior short, I decided to make a full video so that people can use that information to either start their own research or use the research I have done to draw their own conclusions instead of simply going off of one or two posts they may see on the internet. This way, you also get to see the full suite of information from both sides relating to these two specific issues, as these are the ones I have found the most comprehensive information about. So to start with, the very first issue. Unfortunately, Mothdusky had to delete many comments, which I had already shown before, but then someone asked about this. They asked about the fact that this piece of artwork matches this piece of AI work, and specifically that this piece of artwork was posted later than this AI piece. At which point, Mothdusky provided a video of them doing their temporary sketch. So a lot of artists have a two-stage process. The first part is doing kind of your, like, I think this is how it's gonna look. This is the what is commonly known as the stick figure. As you can see, Mothdusky is one of the types of artists who draws the entire figure out and mostly uses stick figures to get general shapes done. And then, after that, there will be another part of the sketch. However, in this post, Mothdusky simply provided the source image that they were going off of for the pose, as well as the info for the actual work, and showing that their work does not actually perfectly line up, that they are slightly shifted. The other work, the leg comes up more, it goes down more, the body is wider, the arm is higher, the ears are differently shaped, so on and so forth. Most people, when they were lining it up, have it lined up slightly differently, causing a different look to the image because of that. You can see the, thanking for clarifying. Here is also an additional piece of information that I imagine not everyone, myself included, knew about, is that the time-lapse feature in the program that I believe Mothdusky is using is capable of hiding layers, which may also be why we do not ever see their stick figure skeletons and the like. So this does also add a layer of controversy to the situation, and is also why I imagine Mothdusky mentioned they would be sharing more of their rough sketches in the future. Now, this topic kept coming up repeatedly, so Mothdusky decided to make an entire thread with a lot more information. You can see here that they provide the two images that are specifically, these were the first ones that started coming out. They also thank the people who helped them gather the information. Here, the projected timeline for the entire work. About halfway through March of 2024, Mothdusky got that person on the waitlist. Then, you can see Heckler, being the person who requested the art, was added to the queue in July. That is also when they start the sketch. Heckler confirms that they received the work in progress partway through July of 2024. Now, the piece of AI artwork was not created until September. That is also when the actual work was done based off the sketch, at which point it was posted in July of 2025. There is more information on this, as some people are obviously going to ask, how could the AI image have been based off a work in progress that only the commissioner had? But that will be discussed later. You can also see here this document, which contains all of that information in detail. July 9th, 9/14 of 2024. So Heckler 05 gets added to the waitlist. The sketch file is created from the commission. It was created on July 2nd. And this is a different sketch than the one that we saw the work in progress for. So Mothdusky has a two-part sketch process. They create their skeleton or their rough sketch, and then they move on to create the finalized sketch that looks closer to the line art. This does contain many of the pieces that people will later point out do not match the original sketch, but that is because there is actually a second sketch. Anyway, Heckler officially does the commissions. In blue here, you can see that it was July. Heckler confirms they commissioned in July of 2024 and received the sketch in August. Continuing, Plague Dog AI makes the post and generates the AI image after the original line art was sent to Heckler. This is why it took so long for the final image to come out, as progress was delayed. You can also see on July 5th, that is when the file that became the final project was created. And you can even see the conversation they were having. So here we have file is created July 5th, final iteration is posted. Speed paint is also posted. When we go back here, this is where the two sketches are shown that include the initial tentative sketch to get the posing correct, and you can see the sources that they were using for their posing right here. And you can see that this source right here matches the pose that is being done. You can see that they're using lines to help draw their trajectory. You could see that they were using shapes to get the face correct. And while this does not have some of the additional features, this does. This includes both the final sketch that Mothdusky sent to Heckler and includes the full process of the creation of the artwork. You can see here, this sketch includes the strap, it includes the bag, and then you can see them doing all of the... I'm going to allow this to play through so we can see the entire process. The work is then done. They confirm that the reason for the large turnover in the middle, it was due to personal issues. They also bring up this post. This is a new one. So this was the second thing. This person claiming that they copied their work for this your character here. However, Excalibur, the creator of that piece of artwork, confirms that they used this source. And Mothdusky also confirms that they both shared this source. So this was a third party claiming Mothdusky copied this. However, they clearly both used the same source. Mothdusky then later shares their sketch showing this. You can see the entirety of the sketch here. They do apologize, they had doodled on their canvas before they started working, but I will allow the entire thing to play out because it also does show part of Mothdusky's process, which a lot of people had said things like, who draws without stick figures, who does this, who does that, but you can see the process of the reiterating. And then you can see the process of the your character here, which is clearly drawn off of the reference. There we go. They also mention this final piece right here. People were believing that this was traced. It was mistakenly posted on the 19th. They're still looking at this one, but they do confirm the dates. So this is the current mega post that I had last seen, which I did share part of. Unfortunately, I missed several details, including the timelines. I apologize for that. But continuing, we also have people who have gone over and found artifacting that they say confirms that this AI piece is based off of Mothdusky's work. Now, I don't actually know how to see artifacting. It is not something I'm specialized in. I don't have a lot of experience with it. However, I still want to show it to you so that you can see what was shown. Here, you can see the work in progress sketch that Mothdusky sent to Heckler, as well as the AI image. Right here is where they show the artifacting. They show here that this knee pad is showing up in the lines of these pants, despite the fact that they're not wearing a knee pad. They also show here that the shape of this thumb is artifacting. They show that the lines in this ear are matching the ear shape. They show that there is an extra fang protruding. They show these straps appearing higher than they should be, despite the fact that in this image they are lower. They show right here that there is an extra bump in the arm of this suit that is being caused by this. They also show this patch right here that the AI does not seem to know what to do with. They also show this mistake in the lining of the suit in the AI image that matches this seam, as well as this buckle that is also being too high. Additionally, they show that part of the tail here is popping out as a line, and that the fur right here seems to be creating an extra line in this suit. I will move myself over here so it can all be seen. Now, all of these can still be found on Twitter. If there is anything you're curious about, you can check the posts I have linked yourself. You can go over these details. You can also see some additional comments being mentioned about other pieces of work. I will go into this later. There are more posts on that. You can see that I have received many comments about this, including a link to someone who tested the generation of the AI, saying this is exactly how it was generated and you can test it. Now, the one thing I want to say, as people are saying, well, if it's just generated off of text, how could they have used that work? Well, where do you think this image came from? Because it has to have a basis to pull these words. I will go over all the details so that you all can see it. You can see here that they are showing the various results they are getting. A new piece of information that is definitely very helpful to the collation of research. As you can see here, someone decided to do a test using the same system to see how likely it was that they would get something with almost the exact same line art. They did it 1,000 times. Once again, this is not my specialty. I don't really understand how this works, but as with the artifacts, I simply want to show this. So you can see here they talk about their terminology, they talk about their outlier, and then they show all of the different variant options that came out of their test and the likelihood of it matching the line art. I'm just going to speed through this section on high speed as it is going to take me absolutely forever to play the entire thing, but obviously you can go to the URL yourself to look over it in detail. This does show that it is a lot less likely for it to produce something that is exactly the same as Mothdusky's work, especially because they mentioned that you cannot put specific images in. Now, once again, just because you cannot put an image in as a prompt does not mean the system itself is not pulling that image from somewhere else. But continuing, these are all of the gens that were used in their artwork. So they have confirmed that they use all of these as gens for the images that they create. And you can see here that they specifically make sure to remove names and titles. I received more comments, which include more pieces of information. And as you can see here, one of the biggest things that have thrown people off is the lack of patch and the lack of strap, which are included here and in the final image. However, as we saw, that is because this is the actual work in progress that was sent in July. There was a missing work in progress image that Mothdusky did not initially include. Continuing again, you can see that this is when this piece of work comes to the forefront and the issues with the timeline. At which point, Mothdusky mentions that this is based off a work in progress that Mothdusky had scrapped from another client. So this pose based off of this work in progress. And in these comments, you can see the confusion about the timelines. However, if this work was uploaded in September, Mothdusky's original sketch was created in January. Mothdusky adds more information about this piece of work. You can even see here that they sent it to that person in January, at which point they requested a different pose. And you can see the creation of this. This was published in March. So this was published after the creation of this work in progress, as confirmed by the date here. The client wished to remain anonymous, which is why it is not specifically being mentioned. Now, Mothdusky mentions that there have been a slew of their works that were AI-genned via DeviantArt. Keep in mind, DeviantArt recently, well, not so recently anymore, released a feature that automatically puts any works uploaded onto DeviantArt into the AI gen. Mothdusky said that they're definitely going to start uploading more of their works in progress, on their rough sketching specifically, so that people can see it. This post links to this issue, that more and more problems are happening where Mothdusky posted final works that look like they were traced. You can see these issues happening right here. But you can also see that those sketches come from before these works. Now, they confirm this was created before that AI work was posted. They even include the speed paint of them doing the sketch. And you can see them, testing out different sections, retrying different bits, etc. I will once again wait through this whole process to finish. And you can see, the continued work. And they mention specifically, this was made weeks ahead of time. I did this, I even finished it on one of my streams. people are asking, how is this happening? Like, why aren't we seeing any of your work from start to finish? Which is why Mothdusky has mentioned they're going to start including more of their rough sketches. And they are looking into figuring out why this is happening. However, someone in their personal server has a DeviantArt account and has a known history with AI. You can see that this person confirms that they were using those references, and they've even confirmed that they were referencing AI. They specifically mention that they did that. So that is the explanation. Something important I want to mention is that harassment is never okay. Regardless of what you think someone may or may not have done, harassing them is never the option, especially if you're threatening the lives of their friends and family. Call someone out, talk about something they've done, but don't send them death threats. It's just unnecessary. Continuing with our updates, it seems like people have also, relatedly, started harassing Mothdusky's followers, which is also unnecessary. Sending people information you think might help them make a decision about someone, totally fine. Harassing them? Not okay. Don't do that. This video is not intended to give you more information or a desire to do any of those things, so don't. Just don't do that. Regardless, our update is that Mothdusky has actually started refunding anyone who is concerned, as well as offering, to quote, "The speed paint will include thumbnails, roughs, sketch, line work, and of course, shading and rendering," so that anyone who is concerned can potentially have those concerns assuaged, and anyone who no longer wants to work with them can simply get a refund. They're also going over all of these other details, but this is where it's been confirmed that they are being threatened with doxing and the safety of their friends and family, and that's just not okay. So, just want to say thank you to the creator of this document for putting it all together, as I was struggling to find some of these things despite hearing about them. So here is just a quick overview. It seems like they have gone through and gathered many of the accusations. I will just be scrolling through here so we can see all of it. Some of this is going to be censored because it is not safe for work, but I will try to keep the important details included. So here we have the original claims, as we had seen. Additionally, we have this that I had already gone over in my video with the evidence. We have this with the claim that they were all from the same source. And then we have more pieces of information about this work that Mothdusky did not update on from what I could see. And that Mothdusky's was posted several days after the AI piece. You can see that Mothdusky mentions that that was mistakenly posted. The creator of the AI piece mentions that they did not funnel a piece of work in. They say they made it from scratch, but AI work is not created from scratch. That is not how the system generally works, as most people are using systems that were trained on stolen artwork. But continuing, you can see the piece that is also in an earlier part of the video here, expressing frustration over them tracing over the generations, work in progress. Selenar Snowcat expressing some frustration over the controversy and saying that their work was likely done that way as well, based on the above. You can also see more additional claims of people mentioning poses being exceptionally too similar. This is when we start delving into a lot of the not safe for work stuff, so you are going to see some censoring here of things that probably shouldn't be shown on YouTube. I'm just going to kind of scroll through everything so that we can see all of the details, as it is mostly just, hey, these are pretty much exactly the same image. What's going on there? Someone here mentioning that they found the exact pose of that exact character. It seems like Mothdusky also deleted a lot of the work on the Not Safe for Work account, where you can see they are not present anymore. However, they have been saved in this document. This is the section that is going to be highly edited because, well, there are things I can't show on YouTube in here. So yes, if you're curious about this document, you can actually find a link to it on my Blue Sky socials, as that is where I was given it. So this does show a lot more issues that have not been addressed. So far, only, I think about 5 of these have been directly addressed. Well, the longer we have been waiting, the more and more information comes out, proving that it seems like everyone's a liar in the end. As you can see here, this document is the full detailing, so I am going to skim through this so that everyone can kind of get the idea of what's going on. Basically, that yes, she has indeed been tracing AI art throughout this entire controversy, and not only that, has apparently been tracing AI art on other accounts in other situations and was caught doing so. So while the initial complaint of don't violate an artist's TOS or put an artist's work into AI is a completely valid request, Let's just say that her own experiences with AI weren't exactly on the up and up, making it definitely a hypocritical situation. It's unfortunate, of course, because I can see there being a lot of people who are now going to use this as an excuse of, oh, you claimed AI was bad, but you were yourself using AI, but at least it could also be used as evidence that, yes, we are not okay with AI in any situation. Though all we can do is say that we are against AI regardless of the situation, and it is not okay that this is being done. It's like, why? I am going to repeat here that despite all of these, it is still not okay to dox and threaten people, as I will be showing shortly that Mothdusky actually originally came forward with the admittance of these claims, specifically because they were being harassed. As you can see here, Mothdusky specifically mentions that someone called her on the phone, gave the entire address, and then hung up. So, yeah, this non-apology here was done because of that, but that doesn't make the harassment okay. Yes, this was wrong. Mothdusky should not have been tracing AI art, but don't do that. Don't harass people. Seriously. Regardless, I'm gonna continue on with the rest of this, as yes, Mothdusky has now come forward and officially admitted that she was closely referencing AI-generated material. However, as several other people have mentioned, Mothdusky has also clarified that the only reason was because of that it is specifically because of the anxiety. There is also something worth noting that Mothdusky admitted to doing this in the past as well, so this is a consistent concurrent problem. So similarly with the Selenar Snowcat issue, it would probably be a good idea not to trust Mothdusky with any of your commissions, as Mothdusky is unrepentant and has now done this multiple times. You can see here, I wanted to take a moment to say that my old account, Fire Inklings, did have art that was traced. Mothdusky moved over to this account because they wanted to get away from those accusations. Now, it is worth noting that at least in this situation, Mothdusky has clarified that she did refund all of the clients whose art was made off of referenced, air quote, AI materials, which, good. I would say that is the bare minimum. At this point, callouts have been done. It is successful. Mothdusky has finally confirmed the truth. Unfortunately, we can see that the apology here was very lackluster, as this is basically the same apology. Because Mothdusky said, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, I won't do it again, and then proceeded to do it again. So, don't commission Mothdusky for anything if you are not interested in receiving AI traced or referenced material. Unfortunately, this has also devolved into an entirely political argument, as you can see from posts like this, as you could see from posts in my earlier updates, where people are now starting to make this a right versus left in the US, and AI, tech bro rights, and woke art leftists, and whatever the heck is going on there. So, like, this is not political, at least in the sense that it's not directly relating to certain political leanings between the two parties and governmental bodies. It would only be political in the sense of trying to get laws passed relating to AI art and not AI art. So, like, this is not an issue of right or left. This is an issue of art and, in some cases, morality. So, bringing up politics in this specific instance does not need to be done. Hate crusades do not need to be done. We should be able to sit down and have a conversation about art like adults. Like the human beings that we are, without having to get into all of this. If anything, this is just distorting the issue, because instead of it being about the actual problem, about the actual loss that artists are suffering from, the actual things AI is doing to our society and our communities, that it shouldn't be the way people are using it, the way that it should be used. All of these things are falling by the wayside so that people can argue about whether or not the right or the left is wrong, about who did the worst thing, about, oh, well, you're a hypocrite, so it doesn't matter. Or, oh, well, they bought the art, so it's theirs now. Yep. And it's like, we should be focusing on the actual issue here. We should be having the real discussion and not letting it devolve into attacks on other people, into doxing, into threats, into political arguments that completely withdraw from the actual issue we're discussing. So, I think the most important thing here is to remember that lies like this are not worth it. Arguments like this are not worth it. Just have a conversation. Be a genuine person. Like, we're all just here to draw our little squishes and have fun. Let's try to keep it that way. Quick aside. So it seems like Mothdusky has actually gone back and retracted the offer for full refunds, but is at least offering to redraw and recreate any art for those people, which is better than nothing, I suppose. Mothdusky is now also posting images that have the entire drawing, including the actual stick figures, as you can see here, which you can also imagine is the striking difference from the other types of images we were seeing, where the entire pose would just magically come to line with only the exact face shape needing to be detailed. So it is more likely these ones are actually fully hand-created by Mothdusky, which, just do that in the first place. Really? Like, you clearly have the ability to do this. It's what you should have been doing from the start. Like, what? Earlier in the video, I was talking about the different ways that artists do sketches, but Mothdusky, after admitting to tracing AI, started sharing more of the sketch process, and you can see from the specific videos that they themselves have provided, turns out they aren't the type of person that skips the stick figure stage. Yeah, let's just say that certainly didn't help their case. Unfortunately, we do also now have people claiming that Mothdusky is tracing things that, well, aren't being traced, which is a interesting choice. It's like, two wrongs don't make a right. So it looks like we have finally gotten a real apology from Mothdusky, and I'm going to read it to you here now. It starts with, "I'm sorry. I need to be honest with everyone. Recently, there's been controversy surrounding my work and the use of AI-generated art. I tried to downplay or deny what happened, and that was wrong. I owe my audience, my supporters, and the art community a genuine apology. In order to do that properly, I'm going to address the things I need to take accountability for. The accusations are valid. I did trace and use AI-generated images in ways I shouldn't have, and I wasn't transparent about it. I also acknowledge that by saying I referenced AI art instead of fully admitting that some pieces were traced, I minimalized the situation. I did lie. Everything came crashing down very quickly. I was scared. I was scared of the backlash. I was scared of the disappointment from those that trusted me, and I was scared of what you all would say to me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the people who did believe in me. You gave me the benefit of the doubt, and for that I'm thankful. For abusing your faith, I'm so sorry. I wish I could have had the courage to come clean from the very beginning. I'm sorry to the people who didn't believe in me, too. You were just trusting your gut instincts and your own knowledge. I tried to deny your suspicions, which led to fighting in our community. I understand there's a question you all have that I haven't answered. Why did I do it? Please understand this isn't an excuse, just an explanation. I didn't trace everything, especially in the beginning. I used references where I could find them, and I didn't discriminate where inspiration came from. I did pay for one paywall subscription, which was less than $3. I did occasionally use AI as references or inspiration as my page grew larger and commission work came in. I found myself struggling to maintain my workload, my health, and the health of my family. When things in real life got turbulent, I found myself letting art slip into the back burner, even though I knew I had to get commissions finished. I felt desperate to catch up, so I traced the body of an AI piece and finished the rest myself. But I see now it was a slippery slope that led me to an ever dishonest place. After that, I felt the pressure to keep up with work, keep up with posting schedules, keep up with the algorithm so I could afford to support myself and my loved ones. The cost of that decision is immeasurable to me today. I slipped further into my shameful secret, and at that point, I felt too overwhelming to be honest. I was too scared to be honest. I'm sorry. I'm ashamed of my choices. I'm ashamed that I hurt you all, broke your trust, and pushed away friendships. I've also hurt myself. I doubted my own skills as an artist and harmed the community I loved. I don't know if I will ever find the words to express how sorry I truly am. I'm trying to make it right if you all will allow me. Yes, commissions might take a little longer than before, posts might not be as frequent, and I might take longer to grow in this community, but that's because I promised to commit myself to honest work. You all deserve honesty, whether it be in my words or in my art. I promise that I will strive to improve my art independently and without dishonest tactics. I promise I will strive to improve my character through transparency and vulnerability. I promise I will do everything I can to amend the wrongs I've made, to show my community I care about you, and that I will not take your support for granted. I have refunded everyone who has requested one, and those I haven't, I'm staying in close contact with as I gain the funds to refund them. I'm sorry for hurting you. Please allow me the opportunity to be the artist and friend now that I should have been all along. It also looks like there is a reply to this, though one of them was deleted, so I will open that as well. I have read public reactions and there are a few questions coming up. 1. refunds. I am working hard to provide refunds. I know it's frustrating to wait, but I can't refund what I don't have. I have already refunded 40 plus people and working hard to refund more. 2. The emails. I understand that skepticism is high and trust is low, however, the emails were genuine. I have received multiple emails, DMs, and even a phone call, all pertaining to wishing harm on me. I am not the only person to experience it. 3. The pumpkin patch your character here. I agree I made a bad decision re-releasing this your character here. I redrew it entirely myself based off the original your character here as a reference. I wanted to reform it into a work that was no longer one-to-one while keeping the appearance people liked about it in the first place. I see that was a poor decision. The your character here has a negative association that I didn't consider more carefully before redrawing it. I'm sorry for my lapse in judgment. 4. The blocks. I know this one seems like an attempt to silence. It's not. Anyone at any time can make a tweet, quote, retweet, etc. Those blocks are nothing more than protecting the fragmented mental health I have left. I know this statement will be seen as self-pity. I can't stop you from seeing it that way, but please try to understand that when individuals come to my page only to express unrestrained disdain for me existing, breathing, living, it takes a toll. I'm committed to making new, original works that each person can feel safe enjoying. I know that asking anything of any of you may leave a bitter taste in your mouths. I understand why, but if you allow me the room to improve and grow as an artist, I promise I will show you I have no intentions of abusing the support I still have. And as Timmy the Otter up here says, we have an opportunity to see a person grow a whole lot in front of us in a positive, constructive way. They took responsibility. They used no defensive language. They made restitution to those they hurt. Can we focus on how big this would be if everyone did this? And I think that's a great way to look at it. Your mistakes can't be undone, but you can own up to them. You can admit what you did wrong and try to grow as a person. And I think that should be the goal that we all have when it comes to the things that we regret. Now, we just have to hope she actually follows through with it. I saw this as I was finishing things up, so I thought I would share. We will be seeing this from Zowo's point of view. All right, here we go.
I'm an artist from Israel, and this is my stream.
This is my art stream.
Show it, bro. I'm gonna have to. Oh my gosh, I'm probably have to go on my DeviantArt, which got me in the trouble in the first place. Oh, you.
Oh,
guys are
why
gonna
does
see,
your
like, my old
why does your DeviantArt get
art
you in
stuff.
trouble?
Hold on.
Dude, wait, where did the fucking drawing go?
AI creativity. Yo, Mothdusky. I thought you were done with all that.
What? No, there's no way. Oh my god.
This shit is not real, bro.
You can see that Zowo adds a bit more information. And as you can see, people are still getting upset. However, it is not okay to put other people's artwork into AI. The reason that tracing other people's artwork and tracing AI gen is bad is because you're stealing that person's artwork. Now, to clarify, I'm not referring to how do they make that line work, or how are they getting this image? I have trouble getting the pose right. I want to use this for reference. If you're using it to learn, that is fine. As long as if you post the work online, you say whose artist's work you referenced or traced over to get the shapes correct. Do not sell them. Do not claim they are yours. And please don't trace over AI. As, 1, you cannot find the source of the artist who originally made the works that it is collaging for you. And 2, it probably won't actually teach you what you want to learn, as there are a lot of odd inconsistencies in the way those systems work. So regardless, it would be better to look at an actual artist. I also highly recommend looking at anatomy books, looking at photos, and learn how shapes move in real life so you can expand on that in your art. You can eventually start creating things with simple references instead of tracing. I mean, heck, I traced Pokemon out of guidebooks as a child and pasted them on my walls. I looked at other people's artwork for reference to develop my own style. That's how art works. But you need to make sure you tell people when you're doing that. 1, because you want other people to be able to use the amazing references that you did, and also because they deserve the credit for their own work that you have built off of. I mean, if someone asked, hey, where'd you develop your style? Oh, well, I've actually always really loved clam, and I really enjoy having more unique details in my characters, so I went for a slightly more realistic bent, and as I have an art degree, I've used my knowledge of anatomy for that. You know, like, it's fun to share where you learned about the style choices you made, and the specific art pieces you have, especially because it could help other people, and bring knowledge to the things that you love. I only started making these videos because art and the conversation around AI is something that is really important to me, and honestly, I want to work on my other projects. I want to share with you more funny videos. I want to try making new things, which I guess that's just the artist in me. I have 80 million projects that I have nowhere near completing, and this is starting to take up way more of my time than I ever honestly assumed it would. As an artist, when DeviantArt released their AI program, I specifically went in and removed all of my artwork, replacing it with my statement of AI artist theft. I have been very vocal in a lot of places about how I do not believe AI is being used correctly, which I will not go into this video because that is an entirely other 30-minute video, but I guess if you want to hear about it, you can let me know. Either way. But regardless, I hope you all have a lovely time, you find art that inspires you, you draw what makes you happy, and you just enjoy. So I hope that this video helped you learn more about the situation you were curious about, gave you a good starting point for your own research, gave you something to think about on either side of the AI debate, and that you draw, you read, you listen to music, find an artist you love, make something that makes you happy, and take care of yourself. Take your meds, drink some water, get a good sleep, do something you enjoy, draw something you love, look at art that you find beautiful, and be kind to each other. Whether you are one of our furry compatriots, a slimy slime, or one of our many more humanoid friends, or any of the others, you just have a lovely day. I hope that you find something today that makes you happy. Excuse me, Noodle, I'm trying to record a video. Can I help you, sir? Yeah? What do you need? Oh, you need to sniff? Yeah? Oh, you're going to join me for the video? Okay, thank you for your support. Excuse me, sir. Emma, why you run? Oh, you want my chair? Okay. We can do that. That's fine. You may have. There you go. Good boy.